Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for watching and listening, whether you're here in the United States or across the world. We're grateful to have you with us. If you could give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reshare, repost, even pull out your phone, or if you have your phone already pulled out, if you could share the Voices for Voices podcast with 25, 50, 100 of your contacts, and that would be greatly appreciative from us to you. We're again grateful to have you with us. We wouldn't have a show if we didn't have you as as viewers, as listeners, as commenters, as just part of the Voices for Voices family. It's an incredible feeling to now be over. I think it's 535 episodes, and it's all because of you. We're here. We're here because of you. Uh, that's I can't stress that enough. That yeah, it's just incredible to be where we're at. Um, wow. Okay. Just had me just thinking about where how far we've come, and and so let's get started. Uh, I woke up this morning and there's fog, and the fog isn't from the usual kind of weather uh, terminology, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. It's actually from, I guess, a wildfire that is nearby enough that the wind and the air current uh, is bringing that to where we reside. And so that was and is still going on. Uh, it's interesting because when I lived in another state, we had something similar uh, happen when I went out to get into my car to drive to work. Went out and it was just like a hazy fog, and it obviously could smell like something was burning. And so we want to keep our uh, fellow humans who are in that path or have been in that path to stay safe and limit your time outside. And that's just a public service announcement. We want to keep everybody as healthy as can be, and that's what we need to do. Uh, and was able to run a couple errands, uh, have the energy to do a show, and these are all things that just a few months back, um, I wasn't, and I know I've talked about being at the gym and just wanting to get in, get my workout done, and get out. There's a nice gentleman that met a couple of times, just introduced ourselves, and you know, he's going from one exercise to another, and I'm going from one to another too. And he really took some time to really kind of reintegrate me into working out, uh, as far as the process. He's found it's worked, and he also mentioned what I've shared is, we can never know everything. And so sometimes we'll watch others and go, oh wow, that exercise, that looks like something that I could try. Something new, something different. Maybe it's a twist on something. Um, when you have the cables, right? So you have all kind of attachments, you know, put on there and work a variety of muscles. And so this gentleman, he was showing me some of the exercises that he does when he's at the gym, and it is very much appreciated. Uh, Again, because I'm now just getting back into the flow of things, and it's just nice to have somebody that will take the time to go through that and just say, hey, if you need any help, if you need a spot on the bench press or other weights, other exercises, just let me know. I'd be more than happy. And I mean, it was it was nice. It was a good feeling. And like I said, I didn't know I've said I like to get to the gym, work out, and get out. This was a conversation that was very helpful because it it was all about working out. It was all about the different exercises and lifting weights in different ways and different muscle groups, and how to address them. And so it was nice. So I'm grateful. I'm not going to share his name. But it was nice. It was nice to have that. I could have used that today, and I did. So I guess I like to say, I guess from like a lesson learned is it's okay to go about our routines and that, but not to be so closed off that if somebody's trying to help you or just show you, I'm using my experience, just happened a matter of minutes ago, um, where someone was, helping me, and I didn't take offense to it. I didn't, he wasn't standoffish or like, oh, well, I lift this much weight and, oh, you're here. And like, there was none of that. It was just like a human to human conversation. And, and it was about the working out, and that's what we were both there to do. And so it was very helpful. Um, and so I'm glad I wasn't so, because I can be and have been where I don't realize somebody has said hi or hello. And so I've already kind of passed them because I'm already thinking about the next thing that I'm going to be doing, the next exercise, uh, the next machine, free weights or the machines or what have you. Uh, I can get in that kind of a zone, which is good, but then I would have missed out on the conversation with this gentleman, and I learned a lot to kind of get my mind back into the flow of things. Um, I mean, and I'm taking, I don't know what, 9 minutes or whatever, talking about this because he was taking time out of his day to talk to somebody he doesn't like, we don't know each other from outside the gym. And he could have just easily just said, hi, this is my name. And then I'd say, oh, Justin. And, well, it could have been like that. And a lot of times that's what happens is it's just like, hey, how you doing? Morning, good afternoon. And that's the type of small talk that I don't do very well at. Uh, I just don't. It's, used the word fixer that a lot. I find like what I need to do. Okay, I'm going to the gym. Okay, am I doing shoulders today? Okay, so I'm going to need to do some type of a rotation of shoulder exercises. And a lot. There's a lot of options. And it was just a nice day to have a nice conversation. And he didn't hover. He didn't watch me do the workout or anything like that. Uh, so I didn't feel like that he was, and maybe he was watching from afar. I don't know. But he wasn't in that micromanager type of deal where, standing right next to you and or me and then we just start working out and then they jump in and go, well, if you do this, you know, the you should be doing this or that. And you need to, do lower weight, uh, like 10 pounds versus 20 or 30. And and so there's just so many different things that getting back into the flow of the gym, I'm recalling a lot of what I thought I had lost as far as those memories of working out and the uh different exercises. And so to get some coaching a little bit, I mean, it was very nice, very kind for him to do that. And I I think we all at certain times could use a little bit of help, a recommendation. Now, it doesn't mean I have to do everything exactly like what he shared with me, but at least it gives me options in my mind that, okay, when I do my back exercises, he showed this, maybe I'll try it. It's that type of thing. And then he also said, watch what people are doing. Like you can learn from that. And I said, oh, absolutely. And that's how, I don't know, 10-20% of my workout, maybe 30, I don't know, some days, uh, has evolved to have that percentage of exercises and lifting the weights be from me seeing somebody else at the gym doing a particular exercise or lifting weights. And I think that's a big thing because we know we're not perfect and we know somebody's always going to be able to lift more weight than us. It's just the way it is. I mean, there's very few people, that, the world's strongest person, when you have, those individuals, that's a whole different level. I'm just talking about like average everyday person. Whenever they can make it to the gym, they go and they do a workout and they look over to a certain machine and see a certain person doing an exercise and go, oh, maybe I'll include that. Maybe it's not today, maybe it's in the future. And all that is positive reinforcement, makes me feel And and I know I'm spending a ton of time on this, but it's just nice because the world a a lot of times is so mean and harsh and negative and judging that to be somewhere and not have people judging. I mean, maybe they do in their head, maybe they do. I don't know. But today was a perfect example, or close as perfect. 'Cause nothing's perfect. Um, for us humans, that somehow the powers that be, God was like, all right, Justin could use a little encouragement. I don't know about you, but if somebody's not gonna verbally judge me, is gonna help and show some things, I mean, do I have to listen to every single thing and do every single thing? Absolutely not. Do you? Absolutely not. What it does is it provides options that, so I did shoulders today. So the next time I do shoulders next week, there might be some things that I learned today or saw today that I might go, oh, well, maybe I'll try what I saw next time and see how it goes. I mean, the worst thing that happens is it feels awkward and then you just go on to the next machine. Like, go on to what, the comfort zone. And I think it can be applied in life, not just at the gym. I know I've spoken about this, mentally, I was so hung up for so many years on the cardio aspect of working out. I was so concerned about the cardio aspect because I was like, well, I'm getting older and I'm not going to be lifting up a lot of weights and my muscle mass and all that's going to be lower and so this is what I was telling myself. Nobody told me that. Nobody said, "Hey, Justin, you don't want to work out because this, and this." It was in my own mind that I had this, I guess, this debate. Like, do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. And I didn't do it for so many years. And I don't know I talked a little bit about getting started and that. But again, I was still hung up on the cardio aspect. Like, how am I going to split up my workout? And do I do cardio for 30 minutes or 20 minutes? And so I'm just figuring it out. If I do cardio and the same day I do like a body part, like shoulders, I didn't today. I should have though, but it's okay. Big deal. Nothing's wrong. So doing shoulders, then I would have done leg cardio, and I like the bikes that they have at the gym, and so I would do that either before the shoulder workout or after. And then when I have leg day, then I would do the cardio with my arms, which is basically like a bike, but it's with your arms. You can go forward and you can go backwards. Uh, and the one thing, I mean, I love a couple things about it, but one of the things I love is it's broken. Like the digital screen's broken. You might say like, oh, you're going to a gym and stuff's falling apart. That actually helps me because, right, usually there's this digital display of calories and distance and intensity and all these numbers. And when that's not populating on the screen, I just get to go on feeling and go, okay, I feel like I've done enough forward cardio with my arms. Now I'm going to do some back. You might say, Justin, that's crazy. Not really. You have somebody like me that has ADHD, ADD, all these things. That's probably one of the best things, again, that could happen at a gym for me. Because when I do like weights and the machines lifting weights, there's a number that's associated with the amount of pounds or kilograms, that you're lifting. But there's no time limit that says, okay, you only have this amount of time to do this exercise. But with cardio, there's so many numbers again to populate. And you have somebody like me, I get fixated on that, on those numbers. Oh, am I going fast enough? Am I gonna burn enough calories or that I that I'm trying to? So for that arm bike, it's a big blessing because again, I'm not staring at a screen that's telling me all these numbers and like all that's great, right? I mean, it's nice to know, but when it's every single second and things are flashing and moving and that just doesn't do well for me. So it is a blessing in a sense that the digital display on the arm bike is broken. So that's something very, 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 very small, but it can make a world of difference because then it's just focusing on the moment, being present in the moment, feeling the arms and the hand, feeling the movement forwards and backwards. And what I'll sometimes do is there's a big clock hanging on the wall. Sometimes I'll look at the clock, but that's just going to tell me seconds and minutes and hours, like the traditional clock, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like that kind of clock. And it's not digital, so it's the old fashioned where the second hand, goes around and around. And then, the minutes and the hour and all that follows. So sometimes I'll do that with the arm bike. Like if I'm wanting to do that, I can. but I usually just glance at it because my arms might be tired from an earlier day. And so I'm trying to do better at listening, the proverbial listening to your body. Like, okay, I'm stretched out. I'm warming my body up. I guess is the way to share it that way. But there's so many lessons. I mean, I didn't think I'd be doing 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes about the gym, but it's part of my day. I don't know how much, but it's having a positive effect on my mental health. I'm being more productive. And it's not like I have to rate each day like, oh, I did 7 things, or I did 10, or I did 0 or 1, but it makes me more active than I would be. Because even just to get once you're at the gym, even to get to where the weights and the cardio equipment are, and there's a walking track, you have to take the walking track around maybe 3/4 of the way, halfway, depending on which direction it is. They switch up on days of the week, what direction. Um, and so even that, I'm walking from my car to inside on the track to where I'm beginning my workout. And then once the workout's done, I take the track around to where the main desk is, and then I exit the building. So even that little walking there, when you take somebody like me that's been so sedentary, it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. And we might think, well, no, that's not going to get you. The word was getting ripped. Uh, get have like muscles and that. Like, oh, I'm going to get ripped. And for me, I just want to I just want to be a little bit more active. And if the muscles come, great. But I'm more in it for just the activity of moving around. That's why the amount of weight I lift doesn't matter. The amount of minutes and seconds and all that on the cardio equipment really doesn't matter because I'm not judging myself against anybody. I might see somebody doing an exercise that I might want to do, but I don't. I mean, maybe sometimes I'll look at what the weight that they're doing, but 99% of the time, I'm just purely watching these individuals do their workout and go, "Oh, I didn't realize that," or "I forgot about that." Or, the cables, or you can put so many different attachments on to work all a ton of body parts. So today it's about the gym. Tomorrow it might not be because it's an off day. I'm not sure what our filming schedule is going to be like the next 3 days. after today. We're really humming along. We're back in that groove. I think we were like 23 episodes in 30 days. And again, I'm the staff member that does this. Gets everything set up, films, edits, gets links from all the platforms that our show and podcast are able to be listened on and viewed on. So we'll see what the coming day brings us. And again, I have to reiterate, none of us knows how long it's going to be, how long we're going to be on Earth. And so for me, I'm thinking, okay, if I'm just a little bit more active, maybe that adds a day or two here and there to my life with the show and the podcast, just sharing to help. Really, that's what it comes down to. You might ask, well, you keep talking about stigma uh, and all these things. And it's like, yeah, there is a stigma. And again, you might say, well, what do you mean? And like, yeah, right, you're just a weak person. Well, just yesterday from my social media feed, there were two people that died by suicide. Two. One was uh, Josh Grizzetti, Josh Grizzetti, Grisetti. Guess how old he was? 44. Guess who else is 44? Me. I'm 44 years old. So, and then this person he was on Broadway, and I don't know if he did any TV or movies. He was an actor. Josh Grizzetti, 44 years old, died by suicide. Then there's the Los Angeles City Hall, where yesterday a man jumped just after 4 p.m. from the Spring Street side of City Hall and landed on the front steps of the iconic downtown landmark. The person who is believed to have jumped from the 25th or 26th floor, they were pronounced deceased, unalive at the scene. So there's a stigma. I don't know. I don't know those individuals personally. I don't know what they were going through. I don't know if they're on medication. I don't know if they're therapy. It, We just don't know when our time is going to be. And when we and I see these news stories of these individuals, it's not a phase. Whatever the person was thinking that took them to that point, you've heard me say this many times, that if our show, any one of the episodes, can help at least one person step away from the ledge yesterday, if we could have helped an individual from opening the window and jumping, that's that's what makes my life worth living because I have the opportunity and the great responsibility to bring easy topics, hard topics, my mental health, my mental challenges to our Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. So, yes, I wasn't able to save these two individuals. I'm not gonna be able to save every person, but that's my why. That's why I'm doing this. That's why Voices for Voices is ingrained in my body, in my mind, in my soul, in my spirit. That's why we do the shows. That's why we have books, other media that's going to be rolling out, is to help people and say, oh, that character's just like me. I'm not the only one. We just want to help. You see on our social media, some of our biographies are we advocate, and we do. That's what we do. We're advocating for people to get help, not so they're judged. But if those people, those two people I just referred to, those two news stories on TMZ, one was on TMZ and one was on E Online, which I think's entertainment online. So they get the credit because they put the story out. Not me. I'm just another person that read it, and it's just a it's just a sad day when these things occur. So that's why we do what we do. Whether you think there's a stigma or not, there still is. Otherwise, why would those two individuals take their own lives? Was it a relationship? Well, I don't know. I don't know what it was. And then frankly, it's none of my business what it was or what the things were leading up to it. I'm sure there'll be stories that come out and like, oh, their last 24 hours. And yeah, that's not what we're here for. We're here just to share that this isn't over. This mental health, some people jump on the bandwagon because it was a hot term. It was a buzzword, buzz terms. And that's what bothers me is the people that jump on the bandwagon just so they can get some more publicity for whatever they're up to, whatever they're doing. Because it's easy if you're someone famous and maybe the mental, you've been able to handle the mental challenges that have come your way, it's easy for those individuals to come out and tell their story, or it might not even be their story. It might just be made up. We don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I don't know. But that's the only thing I can think of while our show and our podcast is vastly improving and one of the top podcasts in the world. What I just said right there, prior to that last part, it's stuff like that that is taking air out of not just our show, our podcast, but others who are actually talking about their lived experience instead of, some A-list or going, oh, I'm going through this. They might be. Again, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not alleging anything. I'm just putting it out there that this is a public safety, public service announcement. We need to help our fellow humans. And there's always going to be people that are going to be in it for the wrong reason. They just are. There's just some people that just aren't nice. So I pray if you're one of those people that are just using the mental health, mental illness terms for your publicity, I pray that you stop if there is anybody out there doing that. I don't know. I'm just purely saying if there is somebody or somebody's out there, just asking them to please stop. So it was a pretty deep show, especially this last segment here, really. If we can help one another as much as we can, it's all we can do. We can't do everything on our own, even though we would like to. But we need help. We all do. Talking to a counselor or therapist is not a bad thing. And I'm speaking from experience. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. If you can give us the thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reshare, repost, even reach out to 25 or 50 contacts in your phone and share the Voices for Voices podcast with them. We would greatly appreciate that. They won't be disappointed, and you won't be disappointed. And you and your contacts can find the Voices for Voices podcast where you get your podcast. So until next time, let's please celebrate the voices of everyone in the world. And we can do that by being a voice for ourselves and somebody in need that isn't able to share their voice. So we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now.